For those of you that follow my channel for any length of time, you know that I absolutely love professional wrestling. And some people can say that it is fake or whatever like that, but you know what? Whatever. Whatever. It's entertaining to me. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about how Vince McMahon played himself into losing control or creative control within WWE. So, for those you may not be aware, behind the scenes is where a lot of the planning, a lot of the promos, and the direction a lot of the wrestlers goes takes place in creative. And in the back, when these shows are being done in real time and is live, there's this place called the gorilla position. Um, the gorilla position is where the creative heads and the other um, lieutenants with the creative head are behind the scenes watching the action unfold in real time. Um, so we all know for a long time, Vincent Kennedy McMahon was WWE. He ran WWE. He pretty much promoted WWE, and he when he took the reins from his father back in the 80s, because back in the day, what's up, Day Love? Salute to you, my sister. Back in the day, wrestling had its territories. You had WWF back then in the Northeast. You had Jim Crockett Promotions in the South. You had the NWA. You had World Class Championship Wrestling that was out there in Dallas, Texas. Right, wrestling had its territories, and what Vince McMahon did is he took that whole dynamic of wrestling being territories and made it to this global phenomenon it is today. Especially with his pay-per-view. Back in the day, wrestling was, they had closed circuit television before the whole pay-per-view concept came about, and that was thanks to this man right here, Vince McMahon. So we fast forward all that to get to where we are right now. So back in 2022, Vince McMahon was named uh, in a allegation to where he was um, accused of sexual misconduct, and this sexual misconduct had him shelling out over like $12 million to multiple women. So now, mind you, WWE is a publicly traded company. So when that news broke of Vince McMahon um, named in a sexual misconduct investigation, it resulted in Vince McMahon stepping down. To which his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, ends up becoming the CEO of WWE. Nick Khan is also, who's president of WWE at the time. And between Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon, who's the overall head in charge, they were taking WWE in a new direction. Now, Triple H, who was a former performer at one point, 14-time World Heavyweight Champion and WWE Champion, he was installed to be the creative head of WWE. Now, if anyone you guys follow NXT, when NXT was rebranded, Triple H, along with Dusty Rhodes and William Regal and other individuals, were responsible for the um, this new creative rebranding of NXT. Uh, Matches had far better storytelling. Uh, there was character development. There was longer title reigns. The championships, like the tag team championships, actually meant something. So for a while, for a long time, NXT, there was the black and gold brand. They called it back then, around 2017, 2018, and such. For a long time, um, you had this dynamic to where NXT was better than the main Raw and SmackDown roster product. Um, some of the complaints that they was going on with the main roster, repetitive matches, uh, same people in the championship picture, um, stale product, and all that. But as long as Vince McMahon was bringing in that money, he really didn't care. He had to deal with the Saudis. He had other deals that was in place that with Fox and other entities that was bringing him that money. Well, when that sexual misconduct allegation um, came out, it basically resulted in WWE losing money. So, like I say, Vince McMahon stepped aside. You had Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Triple H pretty much being the new uh, power structure within WWE. So that went for about 6 months. And for that 6 month time frame, WWE stock recovered. You also had uh, this shift in content to where matches are no longer repetitive. Superstars who were being misused, like LA Knight, he was the maximum male models guy. Max Dupree, so gay. Anyway, what's up, Stevie J? Um, you had guys who were not being used or who were released, like the Johnny Garganos and the Carrier Crosses, even though he ain't doing shit right now because he sucks. But you had guys who was released due to quote unquote budget cuts. Now all of a sudden are coming back with Triple H being in charge, because a lot of these guys they either were released, or when their contract expired, they chose not to resign with WWE. They went to the rival company AEW, who is the who is the pretty much the second largest company in this wrestling circuit in the United States. Um, and you also had other WWE rejects going to, like, Ring of Honor, which was required by AEW, and you had them going to Impact Wrestling, right? That's where Aiden English and the old Tom Phillips is at right now. But nevertheless, that 6 month time period, WWE has seen the shift in content to where people were starting to enjoy it more, like me. You had more compelling storytelling, longer title reigns, the tag team championships meant something. Guys who was either on the verge of being released, or guys on the verge of being released, or guys not being used at all of a sudden now are getting pushes, like Shinsuke Nakamura, right? Who Triple H has propped up to be this larger than life figure when he was in NXT. Oscar was getting pushes. Oscar, when she was in NXT, she was the woman that did not even lose a match. What's up, Alice Heron, Uncle Stretch Salute? So all these people that you see here that in prominent roles, like the Charlotte Flairs, the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, all these people that was in NXT was under Triple H's creative prowess. guys that was going to get pushes under Vince McMahon, like the Austin Theory. They were trying to make Austin Theory out to be this next John Cena, and then when Triple H takes over, his push is pretty much going by the wayside. LA Knight, who was Max Dupree, was on the verge of being released, and Triple H saved this man's career. Now, LA Knight's one of the biggest superstars in the company now. Guys under Vince McMahon only had like one name, like Theory or Riddle or it's to that effect, etc. Now you got guys who are got their first and last names back. So instead of Theory, it's Austin Theory. When Riddle was in WWE before he got fired, now he got his full name back, Matt Riddle. Ciampa, another guy. Now instead of just calling him Ciampa, he's Tommaso Ciampa, and he's reunited with Johnny Gargano. We get DIY back. So these are the changes that have been made. I'm talking about back then and now to where we're seeing the positive results. Now Vince McMahon could not keep his ass away because when he was forced to step aside, he went into retirement mode. And when we thought back then he went into retirement mode, that was gonna be it. We was never gonna see him again. WWE was going to go in this new direction. But no, Vince McMahon could not stay away. He could not stay away. So back in January, he pretty much pulled this stunt to where he would retake control within WWE, because even though he stepped aside, he still had like 80% control of the shares. So he came back with the WWE back in January, whatever like that, pretty much strong arm everyone into bringing him back into power, which resulted in Stephanie McMahon saying that, you know what, I'm done with this. I don't want nothing to do with this no more. So she steps aside. Vince McMahon retakes power within WWE, brings back 3 of his lieutenants to be on his board, and he went out and sold WWE. He was looking for buyers, and there was no shortage of buyers that was looking to acquire WWE. Now, he ends up shaking hands with Endeavor, who's owned by Ari Emanuel. Now, Ari Emanuel is the guy who is the brother to former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel. And we all know about Rahm Emanuel. If you followed Rahm Emanuel for any length of time when you were out there, Rahm Emanuel was the guy who helped the Chicago Police Department cover up the murder of Laquan McDonald. But that's another story for another time. Vince McMahon sold the company to Endeavor. Endeavor also owns the UFC. So they have the UFC banner under Endeavor. And, we all know about Dana White when he was out there on New Year's Eve last year beating his wife live on camera, and nobody did anything about it. And matter of fact, Dana White pretty much gaslit the situation by saying that, if I were to leave the company, then who would take my place? I mean, where would it go? I mean, there would be nothing without me. So I'm not going to step down. I mean, he just pretty much gaslit the situation, and the media let that shit fall down the memory hole. But I ain't forgot. So anyway, so you got this dynamic here to where Endeavor acquires WWE, acquires the UFC, and they call the share TKO Holdings, and that was designed to put Vince McMahon back in charge, and that Vince McMahon was going to retake his position behind the scenes as the man running things. Except Vince McMahon has a boss now, and that boss is Ari Emanuel. Ari Emanuel and Endeavor and the board of directors at Endeavor basically came out and overruled Vince McMahon and told Vince McMahon that no, you will not be the head of creative. You're going to play the background. Triple H, you're going to be the guy that runs WWE, because Vince McMahon is the reason why our stock price went down. So when it comes to the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, Vince McMahon ain't got nothing to do but pay attention to what the bosses say and pay attention to what the board of directors say, because it's not a situation now that where Vince McMahon can just call himself trying to wield his power around. So yeah, he basically tried to sell WWE so he could retake control of the gorilla position, the way he could be making all the decisions and stuff like that, and it backfired on him. It backfired on him. Instead, Endeavor looking at what Triple H is doing, and they're making Triple H the content creator now. That's why you starting to see this consistent volume and this consistent growth and this consistent evolution. Now you got stars from rival companies wanting to come to WWE, right? We saw Cody Rhodes come back to WWE even after his beef with what's up, Daquan C? After his beef with Triple H, when AEW and WWE had that mini war going on. So Cody Rhodes comes back, and then you had Jade Cargill, who was pretty much the hottest women's wrestler out there. You know what I'm saying? Jade Cargill ends up leaving AEW after her contract expires, and now she's in WWE, all because of Triple H. And we saw a teaser last night into her first possible match, which is against Charlotte Flair. Now, do I like that matchup? Yeah, I like that matchup, but that's not the matchup I want to see. The matchup I want to see is Jade Cargill against Bianca Belair. Sign me up for that shit. Whenever that match goes down, let me have front row seats to that shit. I don't care if it's at WrestleMania next year or SummerSlam next year, but that match needs to go down. The only reason why I'm kind of want that match to go down at SummerSlam, because the match I want to see more is Bianca Belair against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. That's the match I really want to see. But after that, after she gets done with Rhea Ripley, after Bianca Belair tosses her to the side, sign me up for her and Jade Cargill. Sign me up for that shit. Anyway, but now we have this situation now where the product is much better. WWE product is much better. And some of these changes outside the ones that I alluded to, with the longer title reigns, more better storytelling, the tag team championships meaning something, guys who were getting pushes now getting pushes and all that. Now, these pay-per-views actually have some kind of excitement to it, right? Because they're taking a lot of these pay-per-views and or these premium live events as they call it now, and they're going overseas with it. So you can, like, when they had the Clash of the Castle in Wales, and the crowd was just really into the whole thing from start to finish. And then guys is going to Australia, guys is going to India, guys is going to places in Europe, England, Scotland. You're going to Puerto Rico. So it really does feel like World Wrestling Entertainment. You're not having guys just win matches basically just because it's their hometown. You have a swerve every time every time you turn your head, there's this swerve, right? There's always some curveball getting thrown in the way, which makes entertainment very compelling. You're starting to see teases of stuff, whether it be a faction coming together, a faction breaking up, a new superstar coming in. So this is the kind of stuff you're seeing with Triple H in control of WWE. You got to watch what happens after the match now. It's not all right, this match over, I gotta go use the bathroom. No, you gotta actually pay attention to what goes on in these matches now. Now you got, instead of Roman Reigns having like one guy challenge him, now he got like three guys challenging him now. Because LA Knight, that's the one guy's gonna challenge Roman Reigns. Then the Bloodline was responsible for taking out AJ Styles, who was supposed to be John Cena's partner. So you know AJ Styles gonna want some kind of retribution, possibly at the expense of Roman Reigns. What's up, Josh Johnson? So that is one of many examples of what I covered when you have Triple H being in control. Now, me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of him as a performer, but as a content creator, as the guy who's out there in behind the scenes, that's another thing I didn't talk about. Wrestlers have more freedom now. They have more freedom. They're not stuck with this idea the way they gotta memorize a script. They have more of a freedom to express themselves. And then you let the crowd, the paying customer like me and you and everybody else that's watching this video, let us decide who we think should be quote unquote the best wrestlers or whatever like that. Not some hand-picked guys who just happen to have a lot of muscle and has a clean shave. You say, do I think the Bloodline storyline is dragging on too much? No. I think the Bloodline storyline is perfect. Because if you gotta understand, when you had the Universal Championship being passed around like weed at a round table, right? The championship did not really have meaning. The championship didn't really have prominence. The championship didn't have respect that it deserves. So when we think of the greatest wrestlers of all time, two things that really stand out when it comes to that dynamic is long title reigns and multiple title reigns. Right? So now you got Roman Reigns, who had this championship for 3 years now, and the person that defeats Roman Reigns, the person that finally knocks him off, their career is going to be shot up to the moon. Their career is going to be shot up to the moon because of that. So you just gotta we just gotta take that in stride. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Um, I like what WWE's doing. I hope they continue what they're doing, and Vince McMahon can finally go off in the sunset. I mean, you had your time with the Attitude Era, the whole thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, um, even Triple H, and such, with Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, Mankind being thrown off at the top of the cell in that Hell in the Cell match. All that was great. First blood matches, I Quit matches, all that stuff was great. Evolution, John Cena, Randy Orton, right? Hell, I even love 80s wrestling with Macho Man. Ooh, yeah, did it. Lesser known talent back in the 80s like the Can-Am Connection and Demolition and King Kong Bundy and the Junkyard Dog, my favorite wrestler back then. Coco Beware. So Vince McMahon, for your almost 50 years being the head of WWE creative and all that, you know what I'm saying? It was great. You had your time. Triple H is taking this thing to a whole new level now. Triple H is taking this thing to a whole new level. And Triple H has really been responsible for a lot of the guys that's, either very popular, like what's that girl name? Becky Lynch, the Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné. You got Roman Reigns, you got Seth Rollins, you got Gunther, right? Because they were having to focus on the championships, and they were taking these championships and giving these guys really long title reigns. Gunther is he beat the Honky Tonk Man out for having the longest Intercontinental Championship reign. Because now, when someone finally beats Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, that championship has been elevated. It got prestige. That secondary championship has credibility now. That means you're ready to take the next step into becoming a future world heavyweight champion or universal champion. But you guys let me know what y'all think about this particular subject. Cliff Notes version about this is Vince McMahon basically played himself. He tried to, he got caught up in some sex scandals. He tried to resign, didn't want to resign, tried to come back, tried to force his way back into WWE through his power, sells WWE to Endeavor so he can retake the creative control, only for Endeavor to tell him that no, you're driving our stock price now. You play the background. Triple H, you got the reins. If you're not subscribing to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button and share these videos on your social media platforms. Last but definitely not least, shouts out to the Mighty Lions Den basketball community. This your man,